What's up, everybody? Welcome in A to Z Sports Live on a Friday, July 1st Friday. Happy Bobby Bonilla Day. Happy first day of July. And happy 4th of July weekend. A to Z Sports here live on this show. And we're going to have a really interesting conversation today because, look, there's not anything happening right now in the world of sports and football. But I think Zach and I have come up with an interesting conversation about the Tennessee Titans that honestly was pretty stressful. It was a stressful exercise. So Zach and I this morning separately came up with our top 10 most important Titans players for the 2022 NFL season. So that's it. That's the only rules. Important can mean different things for different people. So I have my top 10 list of important players for the Titans, and Zach has his. We're going to go through and ask your opinions on it. We'll cut it up. I know there's going to be some controversy and different opinions at number one. And then we'll go through our top five. Then we'll go 6 through 10. And Big Ten Jeff saying nothing happening in the world of football. Y'all living under a rock. Well, we know that USC and UCLA, nobody cares about them when it comes to Nashville, Middle Tennessee, and our audience. Nobody cares that the pretty boys out west want to get dirty in the Big Ten moving forward. It's fascinating. I can't wait to see what happens with it. But we also know, as Mike Tomlin says, we don't care. So we will roll forward with our really solid top 10 Titans players topic and then send us to the weekend, a holiday weekend with Ain't That Good News. So Zach, welcome in. It is also Soul Patch Friday. And I am participating in.
Hey, it's a soulful Friday, and we are headed right into the weekend. Old Soul Man over there, Soul Man Stanley. I like it. I like it a lot. You look good.
I do not.
I think you should maybe kind of grow that out and see if you can rock it for real.
I can't. Like, it's just not I can try all I want. It's just nothing's gonna happen.
You look like Howie Mandel's son. I don't know if he has kids, but that's funny. Fist bump for that. There you go, right there. We are broadcasting live on a Friday, a Soul Friday, and we're broadcasting live on multiple platforms. More people are going to be joining us over the next several minutes, and it's going to be a great day. It's going to be a great time and a great show. We're broadcasting live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. We will tweet out our YouTube links throughout the course of the show as we go through our top 10 Titans heading into the 4th of July weekend. We have a long weekend, and then next week, so we have a little bit of a break. So we're pulling out all the stops on this Friday. If you are watching on YouTube, like this video now and subscribe to our channel. We're going to have tons of content, including more content coming out each day next week on our YouTube page. And right around the corner is training camp, where you're really going to be locked in, where we'll have highlights that you can only see on our YouTube channel. I mean, we've got we locked and loaded. We've got a great team of A to Z Sports in our Nashville region ready to go for those highlights. So subscribe to our YouTube channel. Facebook, what's going on? The real OGs have been with us since day one. We respect and admire you and appreciate you guys sharing the show each and every day. So go ahead and share it right now. Push that share button, bottom left corner of your screen. Share now to public. Sharing is caring, and caring is sharing on this show. That is what we know. That is what we live. So share it around. More people are going to pile in, and let's get this party started in honor of Pitbull heading into a party Friday. Let's get it going.
Does Pitbull have a soul patch?
Pitbull at times does, at times doesn't. He is Mr. Worldwide. He kind of does what he pleases. So I respect the man.
Let's get it going officially. Welcome into A to Z Sports, powered as always by the BetMGM app. I'm Austin Stanley. He is Zach Bingham. Make sure you follow us all over social media. We are Nashville's on-demand sports talk network, going live every weekday morning at 8 Central Time on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Find the links to the show on our Twitter feed and also our Instagram story. Follow us there at A to Z Sports. We got to thank our sponsors because they make it happen for our show and they help out you guys. With Wilson County Hyundai, check them out and make them a part of your new car buying process by going to Lebanon to see them, or simply WilsonCountyHyundai.com. The Bone and Joint Institute, boneandjointtn.org. the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care. And then also Farm Bureau Health Plans. Get better with Farm Bureau Health Plans. It's better coverage, better rates, better service. Learn more about a health plan for you. FBHP.com/ATOZ. So, Zach, we started this exercise of our top 10 most important Titans for this 2022 season. I don't know about you, but we talked briefly about this. Then we decided to stop talking. We got off the phone and we filled out our list separately. Did this stress you out as much as it did me? Because I thought this was, it's kind of like my NCAA bracket. Like, there's two ways to go about it. You either just say screw it and you just fill it all out super fast, or you overthink it and then you bust and you miss half of the first round games, right? Like, that's kind of how I viewed what this exercise was, the top 10 Titans players for this season.
So I didn't have trouble with this at all. I had my philosophy and my reasoning. I struggled. The ones that I struggled with were at the bottom. Were 10, 9, 8. Those I had to kind of justify a little bit, which I did. I came to a conclusion. But my top 6, I feel very strong about because there's a theme. I think it makes sense for the football team, and I think it makes sense for the importance of grading the Titans and where they want to be. I think that kind of kept me center of what is their goal? They are not just trying to, get to 500 anymore like in 2013 and 14. This is a contending team, and they've got a lot of good competition ahead of them this season. And look, they got some playmakers that need to figure themselves out, right? And so I thought it was easy. Okay. But I struggle with the 10, 9, and 8 just because I think those could be more interchangeable. But I have a theme. I feel good about it. I'm confident in my top 10 list. I believe that it is right. But I am also excited about where we differ because out of 10, we're not going to be the same.
No. Well, you said you have a top 6 theme. Is that what you said? I also have a top 6 theme.
Uh-oh. See, and this is so Austin and I worked together for every day for the last
almost 10 years.
Almost a decade, right? So I know how he thinks, he knows how I think, but when you go off and do this, usually, and I don't know what this is going to be, but usually we somehow get closer to agreeing in this weird world. So we'll definitely have some separation, but I'm interested to see what that separation is.
All right, well, we're going to start at number 1. Why not start at the top? Okay, so the top 10 most important Titans players for this upcoming NFL season. Zach, who is your number 1?
So my number 1, and you know what? You know what I want to do?
What's that?
I want to go to the chat. Before we do anything, I think it is only fair to get the chat involved to start this show. So I'm going to put out there, who is the most important Titans player? I want the chat to fill up the box. I want them, and look, it can be anybody. I don't care. It can't be coaches, can't be general managers, can't be owners. It can only be players on the roster. So who is the most important Titans player? Who is your number 1? That's what I want to hear. And look, I think there's an obvious 1 or 2.
Yep.
I don't know what you're going to do, Austin. You don't know what I'm going to do. We'll figure out who the most important Titan is from the chat as things start to pile in. It's starting to work. This is good. This is very good. Let's start with Titans Kyle because Titans Kyle starts with Ryan Tannehill. He goes with the quarterback. Johnny also goes with the quarterback, but Alex says Derrick Henry is number 1. Our offense is based on the run game. I don't necessarily see any lies there on the back half. Jimbo goes a different direction and says Jeffrey Simmons. John says Derrick Henry. Bobby says Ryan Tannehill hands down. So emphatically, Jimbo says Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry coming in from Sean. Derrick Henry, the king. So the king's starting to take a little bit of the lead. But then you also have Tannehill right there. So Jonathan is going a different direction in Brett Kern.
Oh, Brett Kern. By the way, hey, I saw a prediction yesterday that somebody said that they don't think Brett Kern will be on the roster this year.
Whoa. Those are some fighting words.
Yeah. We'll see what happens with the MV punter coming up soon.
So Stephen Wood has a pretty emphatic statement, and he says starts and finishes with Tannehill. Now, I don't agree with that statement. I think it's close, but I don't think it's right. Stephen, I think it starts with Derrick Henry, but it finishes with Ryan Tannehill. And this team has been unable to finish. And why? It's been because of Ryan Tannehill. The last 2 years, Ryan Tannehill has fallen short of his and this team's expectation, whether throwing an interception against the Baltimore Ravens in the wild card round at home, or whether it's throwing an interception against the Bengals in the divisional round at home. So I think you were close, but it starts with Derrick Henry. But this team is about finishing. The most important player on this Titans team is Ryan Tannehill. And I think it's going to be hard for anybody to argue. I don't know what you're going to do, Austin. The chat has kind of leaned to Henry, but I just don't think that it ends with Henry. I don't think Derrick Henry alone can win you a Super Bowl. I believe if Ryan Tannehill plays out of his gourd like Joe Flacco did in 2012 and Nick Foles did when the Philadelphia Eagles went on their Super Bowl run, that Ryan Tannehill can win the Titans a Super Bowl. But it starts with Derrick Henry. It finishes with 17 Ryan Tannehill. He's my most important.
Well, I mean, I could say there's also another common theme in the last 3 playoff games the Titans have played in, which they have lost all 3, and that is where Derrick Henry was stuffed in those playoff games, losing in Kansas City in the AFC title game, and then the Ravens defense shutting him down in Nashville, and then him not looking himself and explosive against the Bengals in Nashville earlier this January. So my number one most important player is Derrick Henry, because I do think it starts and finishes with Derrick Henry. You're right about it starts with Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry is the identity. Derrick Henry is the poster boy. Derrick Henry is the leader of this team. And Derrick Henry is the engine that makes the entire offense work. And he also benefits his defense by chewing up clock, by putting up points over points, and by making everybody's job around him a lot easier. And so while I think Ryan Tannehill is very important this season because he plays the most important position, the Titans are different than everybody else. The Titans zig or zag when everybody else zigs. The Titans aren't paying the receivers when everybody else is. The Titans are focusing on pass rush, and they run the football in 2022. So Derrick Henry is the most important player. And I don't know, last year they were able to succeed and win games without Derrick Henry, but they needed him to be better than what he was against the Bengals, and he wasn't. I also think Derrick Henry is pissed off for greatness this year. So, Zach, my answer for number one is Derrick Henry. I think the most obvious is whoever you choose as number one between Tannehill and Henry, the other is probably second. It's a pretty close 1A, 1B type of conversation, in my opinion.
So I have 2 questions for you.
Okay.
My first question, I asked you this a couple of weeks ago, which was, when was the last time a Super Bowl was won singularly because of a running back?
I want to say Terrell Davis back in like 1998.
Yeah, I think you're right. And that was a long time ago. And we looked at, and tell the fine folks what you found out yesterday about the scoring differential of the league.
Oh my gosh. Like, I don't have it off the top of my head, but I do have the graphic from yesterday, I believe, of the top 7 scoring defenses. Like, look at that. Like, the Bills were 17th and they points per game. That was the number 1 defense. The Titans were 6th at 20.8. About in 2008, the Titans were 2nd in scoring defense at like 15 points a game. And so it's a big difference in how they've moved when it comes to scoring rates over the last few years. So yeah, I mean, it's a different game. Brian says Jamal Lewis in 2001, but you could also say maybe the Ravens defense was able to shut off the Giants and make it like a 31-7 score in that Super Bowl. But again, Brian, Jamal Lewis is a good one and was a couple years after Terrell Davis, but still 20 plus years ago. 20 plus years ago.
My second question is one that I've asked before, and that is, what is the most important position in team sport?
Oh, it's quarterback. But again, the Titans are different. It's Derrick
Henry. The Titans aren't different with their goals of every other team, right?
No,
their goals are the same, as that's to win and hoist the Vince Lombardi trophy. And so that's why I do think it is close. I'm not saying that it's far off, and I do think it's 1 or 2, 2 or 1, whatever you want to say. But Ryan Tannehill is going to stir this drink if the drink's going to be good. And that's what it is. And they haven't had a good drink since and again, I think it was more of an anomaly. I don't expect the Cincinnati Bengals to make it back to the Super Bowl, because I think the Cincinnati Bengals are going to be more like last year, were more like that Tennessee Titans team of 2019 that made a good run and fell short. The Bengals made a good run. Now they made it to the Super Bowl and fell short. I think, but look, the following year, the Titans were still good, right? Like, I don't think the Bengals are going to drop off. I don't think it was just that much of an anomaly, but I do think Ryan Tannehill is the most important player on this football team this year. It may be Malik Willis next year.
Well, and there was some interesting comments, and you can go to A2ZSports.com about a prediction on when Malik Willis might take his first start as a Tennessee Titans quarterback, like not just in an injury spot for Ryan Tannehill. A2Z Sports here live. Nate says the quarterback is supposed to be a Ferrari, but the Titans drive a Volvo. Jason says he never agrees with Zach, but he's spot on here.
Hey, Jason, let's break bread. Way to go. We finally made it.
Yes. And so I think Derrick Henry is most important, because if Derrick Henry is back, then all is well. If Derrick Henry is back as King Henry, then he makes things so much easier for Ryan Tannehill. But let's keep moving forward, because this is where it gets hard. This is where I think there's going to be a big difference in what Zach and I think, because 3 through 10 is going to get complicated, because Henry Tannehill, I understand why somebody can go either direction there, but our rankings 3 through 5. So if we use Tannehill and Henry as 1 and 2, who are your 3 through 5 most important Titans players this upcoming season? But first, Zach, tell everybody about Farm Bureau Health Plans.
Yeah, FBHP.com is where you need to go to change your health plan. I went online. I got their phone number and called, and you can do that. I like to talk to people, and that's the best part about Farm Bureau Health Plans service. They have better service, they have better rates, and they have better coverage. Once I called, I figured out that they had better coverage, and then once I figured out they had better coverage, they told me that they had a better rate. And so I figured out I needed to make some better decisions, and I decided to go to Farm Bureau Health Plans, and it has helped me tremendously. 200 plus locations across the state of Tennessee. FBHP.com/ATOZ. Go online, do a quick health assessment. They got to assess your health. Then they give you the quote, and then you make a decision. It is very easy. And once you do, I truly believe that you will be happy with your coverage. I have been thus far. I'm glad that I did. FBHP.com/ATOZ.
A2Z Sports, it's BetMGM, and it's Friday again this summer, which means no run first inning Fridays are risk-free up to $25. So here's what you're going to do. You're going to download the BetMGM app. If you're not already signed up, then use code ATOZ Sports for risk-free bet up to $1,000 on your first bet. But if you're an existing user, that's what Fridays are for this summer, for no run first inning Friday, which you go find a Major League Baseball game. Any Major League Baseball game today, you place a bet on there to be 0 runs scored in the first inning, and that bet is risk-free up to $25 if only 1 run is scored in the first inning. Pay close attention to our Instagram and Facebook and Twitter today. We're going to put out a suggestion on where you should place your no-run first inning risk-free bet in Major League Baseball. today. So be looking out for that later on this morning on Instagram and Facebook and our Twitter account as well for that suggestion on where to go. Visit betmgm.com for terms and conditions. 21 or older, Tennessee only. All promotions subject to qualification and eligibility requirements. Awards issued as non-withdrawable free bets or site credit. Free bets expire in 7 days from issuance. For problem game support, call Tennessee Red Line 1-800-889-9789. Going through, Zach, our top 10 most important players for the Titans this upcoming season. We both had those two dudes, 1 and 2, or 2 and 1, however you want to look at it. I had Henry 1 and Tannehill 2. I'm guessing you had Henry 2 after Tannehill being 1. Is that correct?
I did.
Okay. So now let's get into 3 through 5. I see some comments in the chat on 3 through 5. What are they saying?
Well, I think I actually was surprised because you have Lucas coming in saying Kevin Byard 3, Simmons 4, Honor Landry 5th. A shout out to VY for that. Simmons 3, Landry 4, Woods 5. And I've seen some Woods trickled in through here. Henry says Simmons, Byard, Woods. Bobby says Simmons, Byard, Lewan, which I think is interesting. Simmons, Lewan, Woods. Simmons, Dupree, Byard. Lewan, Landry, Byard. These are, I think they're good, but I think it's interesting. I don't agree with some of the chat on their list. Steven comes in with Simmons, Landry, Woods. I do agree on the chat because most number 3s are Jeffrey Simmons. My number 3 is Jeffrey Simmons. Okay. He's the best player on defense. I went 2 offensive players to start, as did you. I went Tannehill, then Henry. I got to look at the defensive side of the football and ask myself, who's the best defensive player? It's Jeffrey Simmons. I think he can take another step. He is not Aaron Donald, but closer to being the force that Aaron Donald represents. And so Jeffrey Simmons, I think he's going to have a massive year. He's my 3rd most important Titan on my list.
Okay. All right. I do not have, I'm curious what your theme is now because, you went offense and now defense. I mean, I'm trying to think of what your top 6 theme is because I have a top 6 theme too. And my top 6 theme actually kind of goes in a couple different ways. My number 3 is Taylor Lewan because Ryan Tannehill, who is your number 1, and Derrick Henry, who is my number 1, needs Taylor Lewan to lead the offensive line and to get back to a Pro Bowl level because Tannehill was sacked the 2nd most of any quarterback last season in the NFL behind Joe Burrow. Lewan had some shaky moments, but played really well at the end. I think the left tackle needs to set the tone. If you want to run left to continue that with a new partner at left guard because Saffold's gone, Lewan's going to be on top of his game. If you want to protect Ryan Tannehill's backside to allow the play action pass to thrive like it did in 2020, Taylor Lewan and his buddies up front need to hold up too. So I have Taylor Lewan, who has question marks, his contract. He said this too earlier in OTAs that ever since his suspension, he's got 0 guaranteed money on that deal, right? He's playing for his Titans career every season. And he survived another year because we thought he could be a cap casualty this past offseason, and he was not. And so now all of a sudden he is a top 3 most important player for this team, in my opinion.
You'd be surprised where Lewan is on my list. Okay. He's not in the top 6, I'll tell you that.
All right.
Maybe not even in the top 7.
Ooh,
maybe not even in the top 8. Who knows?
Is he in the top 10? I mean, is he even going to crack the show today?
That's why we're going to go through it. So that's pretty all right. Okay. I think you made some valid points. I don't agree with the Lewan thing. I have Simmons. I'm curious to see if you got to have Simmons 4. I mean, he's the most important player on the defense, but I don't know. That's kind of why we play the game. My number 4, and this was a half a sack away, which is Harold Landry. Landry got paid. Landry had 12 sacks last year. Landry is the highest paid pass rusher in the room. Harold Landry is super important, and he is number 4 on my list because I have Simmons. Simmons helps Landry. Landry helps Simmons. Landry got paid for good reason. I thought they should pay Harold Landry. They did. He is number 4 on my list.
And so, real quick, Chris says Lawan is trash. Again, we're not ranking the best players,
No.
right? This is the most important players.
Correct.
And so, Chris, you might think Lawan is trash, but it would be pretty important for your left tackle to not be trash. That is why he ranks so high in my importance list. So, all right, so you've got Landry at 4. I do not have Landry at 4. I do not have Jeffrey Simmons at 4.
Whoa.
Number 4 on my list.
I don't agree with your list so
Titans
far.
play. Oh, it's just a different thought process.
I get it.
And it has a theme, and you'll understand it more. You still might not agree with it, but you'll at least understand it more once I get through it. Number 4 on my list is Robert Woods. I think Robert Woods needs to provide the stability on the outside for a playmaker for this offense. And I'll go ahead and tell you my number 5, because my number 5 is Treylon Burks. Because Treylon Burks and Robert Woods have to be able to create plays and score touchdowns for this team. The reason why I have Robert Woods 4 over Treylon Burks is because I trust him more. He's a pro. He's done this a long time in the league. I really like where he's at with his ACL recovery. And Treylon Burks at 5, I mean, you've got to have somebody make a play on the offense. You have to. And so these two guys really need to step up and make big-time impacts to make Tannehill's life easier, right? Because Tannehill needs people to throw to who are reliable. Robert Woods, I think, can be reliable once he gets the full go, ready to go back from the ACL. Treylon Burks has to become reliable really fast. And so I think Woods at 4 and Treylon Burks at 5 round out my top 5 most important Titans players, all offense.
Yeah, I think that's dead wrong.
I mean, look, I had a different thought of it.
Yeah, but your thought, the most
it's not wrong. It's my opinion.
The most important thing on this entire team is their defense. That's the defense we've seen. So I asked you the same question that I'll ask you. When was the last time we saw a defense come through and win a Super Bowl? We've seen that recently. That's the key, is their defense. And what the front 4 make up the defense. That's why number 5, I'm going Bud Dupree. Give me, these are the big heavy hitters. Give me Tannehill and Henry. Give me Simmons, Harold Landry, and Bud Dupree. I've given you a quarterback. I've given your best player on offense, and I've given your pass rush. Pass rush stops what they're about to go through. And they're about to go through the Green Mile starting in week 7, which you're going to have unbelievable quarterback play. The only way to stop fire with fire is this defense. That's what makes the most sense. The importance is their defense stays where it was or even improves to possibly be the number 1 defense in the league. Now you're a different story. Now I believe so much more in this team. So yeah, Simmons, then Landry, then Dupree, because if those guys off the edge and in the middle are wreaking havoc, now I'm getting juiced up. If those guys are wreaking havoc, the offense that has so much firepower, you're going to hold the Kansas City Chiefs to 3 points again because you're going to be able to get after Mahomes. It's the same philosophy of what the Bucs did to the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. They made him run around like a chicken with his head cut off. That, I think, is the philosophy. That's why when you talk about importance, I also went to price tag. Look at this. The price tag of these players makes the most sense. Derrick Henry got a big contract. Ryan Tannehill is a $100 million man. Jeffrey Simmons is about to be the highest paid defensive tackle in the league besides Aaron Donald.
Okay.
Yeah, let me finish. And then you got the big boys, the $80+ million guys in Harold Landry, and he makes more money than Bud Dupree. He has more sacks in a single year than Bud Dupree. That's my philosophy.
All right, and look, a few people have figured out my overall thinking and approach to this top 10 most important list. And so, look, again, this is why I found this exercise to be very interesting, because clearly Zach and I approached it from different mindsets. I really don't think your list is wrong, and I don't think my list is wrong either. It's just different interpretations of what we mean by most important, which again, my top 6 theme is I have a top 6 theme. You have a top 6 theme. So we'll figure out which top 6 theme we have, and I'm going to give credit to the handful of people in the comment section who did figure out my philosophy on what I did, because there was a method to the madness that Zach thinks I did with my top 5, and my number 6 player will unlock that too. But real quick, we're going to get our 6 through 10 here in a second. But let me tell you guys about the Bone and Joint Institute, boneandjointtn.org, the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care. Whenever you get hurt in life, go to them. I did it last week, and now I'm going to have a great beach vacation next week because I went to the Bone and Joint Institute, and Dr. Jeff Watson helped me out with my plantar fasciitis. He's a foot and ankle expert. He's got all of what you need. He gave me the steroid shot in my foot to allow me to walk barefoot on the beach with pain-free next week, and I'm looking forward to that. And they can do the same thing for you in whatever injury occurs in life, because life happens and you get hurt. That's unfortunate, but it's going to happen. Make sure you know who to go to and who to trust. boneandjointtn.org.
We are powered by BetMGM. We love BetMGM. You should love BetMGM. And they got a deal. Risk-free no-run first inning Friday. You get back up to $25 if the game you bet on only has 1 run scored in the first inning. And that's a great deal coming in from BetMGM. Download the app today. You can also use the promo code to sign up, ATOZ Sports. That's ATOZ Sports, all one word, no spaces. So use that promo code, download the app in your Apple or Android app store.
All right, A to Z Sports, we're going through our top 10 Titans players when it comes to importance throughout this Friday show. So a few people did guess what my philosophy was, and I'm going to go through and see if I can find the person who got it first here as I went through, because my top 5 are Derrick Henry, Ryan Tannehill, Taylor Lewan, Robert Woods, and Treylon Burks, rounding out the top 5. And so the person who first got it was Jacob. Austin's theme is the defense is so stacked, so one player isn't as important as the offense, which is questionable. Jason says Austin's kind of right going offense, got to be better on that side of the ball. I believe Juan was the next one. The O is more important because there's more question marks. We know what the Titans have with this defense. And that's exactly what my philosophy is.
What if the defense underperforms?
Well, but the
offense is inadequate to keep up.
But what did we talk about yesterday? And it kind of goes hand in hand with Thursday's conversation and today's conversation. I think that we both said that we feel the most acceptable floor for the defense is a top 12 defense. I think this defense is going to be good. Like, are they going to be number 1? I don't know. Are they going to be top 5, top 3? They have a chance to.
Those are high expectations. If they become 13, we both said they missed the playoffs.
I mean, we gave top 12. We feel comfortable saying that they can win the AFC South with a top 12 defense.
If they don't win the AFC South, what do you think is going to happen?
I think the offense is probably a disaster.
Do you think they're going to miss the playoffs if they don't win the AFC South?
Yes, most likely.
So that's
but again,
I've led you to the water.
But the likeliness of the Titans defense bottoming out like that after such a great year, I don't think it's that likely. So
that's why it's so important. So go ahead.
Again, but I think the offense is that much more important because there's more question marks. There's question marks about Derrick Henry's foot from people on the outside. I don't believe it. I don't have any questions about Derrick Henry, but he is the most important player on this team because he runs the whole franchise and they go where he takes them. Tannehill has massive question marks. Lewan has question marks. Robert Woods has question marks after the trade and the ACL and the offensive weapons. Treylon Burks is loaded with question marks and he's a step up. So number 6 on this is a guy that I feel more confident in having an impact out of the gates is Austin Hooper. I think he helps fix a lot of the problems the Titans offense had last year by being predictable just by Austin Hooper being tight end 1 and being on the field. And so my top 6 theme is all offense because that's what I have the most questions about the ability for this team to perform, score enough points, and win games. The defense is loaded. And I'll say it, 7 through 10, all defense. But my top 6 players of importance for this team are offense because I feel like there's a little bit of boom or bust, feast or famine with all 6. I don't think there's feast or famine with Henry. I don't think there's feast or famine with Lewan, but I feel a lot of question marks about the playmakers on this offense That's why Woods has to step up, Burks has to get right, and Austin Hooper has to be the chess piece that makes everything glue together.
I couldn't put Robert Woods, especially as high as you had him, because he's a number 2 wide receiver.
Right now, he's number 1, Zach. Right now, he's number 1.
He is a number 2 wide receiver.
Well, but right now, he's number 1.
So but that's the problem. He is a number 2 wide receiver. You can't force him to be somebody he's not. They've tried that before. Corey Davis is a good example. They tried to force him being a number 1 wide receiver. Corey Davis is not a number 1 wide receiver. He never has been, and he never will be. He doesn't have the talent, skill, or wherewithal to go upfield. He runs out of bounds. That's just what he is.
Corey Davis,
so, the point is number 2. That's why Robert Woods
is so much better than Corey Davis. Robert Woods can perform and play the part of a number 1 for a short period of time until Treylon Burks gets right. That is what you need to happen, which is why I have Woods over Burks, because I think Woods needs to help carry the load early on for this offense.
All right, so my number 6 is not on your list. I know he's not on your list. Not a chance. I'll tell you that Taylor Lewan is not on my list. He is not top 10.
Okay.
But number 6 is on the other side of Taylor Lewan. That's the right tackle position.
Yeah.
It is the 3rd most important offensive position. It is. You have Ryan Tannehill, you have Derrick Henry, and then you have the right tackle. Because you know what? We've seen defenses, they're multiple. They're going to take Chandler Jones. Chandler Jones is going to be on Lewan because he had success. But if you take any of the top pass rushers, which most NFL teams have 2 really good ones, you're going to go attack the weakness. Find the weak spot. I'm not worried about Taylor Lewan. Taylor Lewan proved his worth last year by staying and Saffold going. I have no effing clue what the right tackle is going to be. Not a clue. They could be trash. They could be, we had people in the chat saying Lewan's trash. If Lewan is trash, which I don't think that he's trash, what do you think that the right tackle position is?
So are you saying Dylan Radins?
I don't want to put him in there.
Well, so
it may be. It may not be. That's what training camp is about.
Okay.
That's the unique part about the right tackle position.
Zach, I'll tell you a secret. The right tackle is going to be Dylan Radins.
I hope that it is.
And why I did not have Dylan Radins in my top 10, I'll tell you where I had him. I had Dylan Radins at 12 because I had 3 guys that I had to cut in this list, but I went ahead and ranked them just for extra context. Dylan Radins is number 12. Why Dylan Radins did not crack my top 10 most important list is because the Titans won 12 games last year with David Quessenberry being the right tackle. That's why. That Mike Vrabel, over his course of being the Titans head coach, has been able to hide massive weaknesses.
And that doesn't, you can only do that for so long.
Well, and so again, I think, look, I'm not saying the right tackle isn't important. I'm not saying that Dylan Radins isn't important. I have Dylan Radins at 12. He just missed the cutoff on this conversation. But again, my tiebreaker, because look, you could go 3 through 10 and you can make a case for anybody being through there in any different slot. But Dylan Radins did not make the cut simply because they were the 1 seed with David Quessenberry playing that position. That's a big deal in this conversation.
And did they struggle to protect Ryan Tannehill last year? Did Ryan Tannehill have his worst year as a Tennessee Titan? So that wasn't hidden. Guys, the offense was trash last year because they didn't have a good right tackle. It's the facts. Look at it.
The offense was trash last year.
Don't sit there and say that it was okay because it wasn't.
No, but again,
that's what you're trying to say, though. You're trying to convince me that it was okay, and it's not.
No. I'm just saying. My point is that I just don't think it makes the cut. I think it's the 12th most important player.
And that's why I think that's wrong.
I still find it very important. And for those who, and One Nation Underground and others are talking about the center, I have Ben Jones at 13. I think 3 offensive linemen playing in the top 13 most important players, that's It's a big deal there. I have a high importance on this offensive line on the guys that and Nate Davis is probably not far behind either. But, I just didn't think Dylan Radins made the cut because of my 6 guys on offense.
Let's watch this year. July 1st, with Bobby Bonilla Day.
Austin Hooper is more.
I'm calling out right now. Watch the right tackle position all season long. I think it is going to be the third most important part of the offense.
It's a massive storyline, no doubt. And
watch it. I'm calling my shot.
That's fine.
I'm calling it right now.
Yeah,
right tackle position.
Yes, nobody's disagreeing with that. Like
you have him 12. You are disagreeing with it.
Nobody is. You are. Zach, no. Nobody is disagreeing with the fact that the right tackle is a big question mark.
But I'm talking about the importance. You are disagreeing with the amount of importance. You are disagreeing.
I think because of David Quessenberry and all the other players the Titans have, he just didn't make my cut for this conversation. He was right on the edge.
Who is number 7 for you?
Number 7 for me is where I make my start on the defensive run, and it's Jeffrey Simmons, right? He's the most important defensive player. So I have him listed as the most important defensive player. But again, my top 6 theme went offense because that's where I have the most questions. And so I think the best players on offense need to have great years to help that get right. And I feel more confident about the defense. So Jeffrey Simmons is 7 for me.
I think that's wild to say that Jeffrey Simmons is the 7th most important player on the Tennessee Titans.
It's just the approach that I took to it.
But just like say that out loud.
No, I know. I mean,
say Jeffrey Simmons is the 7th most important Tennessee Titan player.
Jeffrey Simmons is the 7th most important Titans player for the 2022 season. Yes.
Whoa. Wow. I agree. Big Ten Jeff. Big Ten Jeff is getting the love of the show. This is factually false.
Well, Big Ten Jeff just loves Big Jeff. So, I mean, they're basically the same person.
I'm just Big Ten Jeff.
Yeah, and
you don't get the love of the show. I don't usually give it to Ohio State guys, but Big Ten Jeff's getting the love of the show today on a Friday.
And Jeff says, tell me you don't watch football. Tell me blah, 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 ha, funny. Like, again, like I had a philosophy and a process to what I did. So again, there's not.
I know, but your process is wrong. That's what we're calling it.
But no, it's just different than yours. It's my freaking opinion. It's not wrong. It's my opinion. Well, you can disagree with it, but doesn't mean it's wrong.
But the 7th most important player.
Because of my philosophy and my whole approach about the importance of the offense performing at a high level. Come on. You understand that.
No, I don't. So the 7th most important player, in my opinion, I think is on the back half of the defense. And I think it is Kevin Byard because of several reasons. Kevin Byard is the leader of the defense. Jeffrey Simmons is the best player on the defense, but Kevin Byard is the leader. Look what happened in 2020, which they were not solid. They were trash, right? And in 2021, Kevin Byard got back to being a Pro Bowl player, and they had a good defense, right? So Kevin Byard is that guy for me. I think he leads. I think, the mayor of Murfreesboro, I love what he brings to the roster. He's well respected. I think it's been pretty impressive, a guy from MTSU to come in this league as a 3rd-round pick and earn the respect nationally, I think, from a lot, and probably not enough, but he got paid. He was the highest paid safety at one point in time. I think the 7th most important player that makes a little bit more sense to me is Kevin Byard.
Okay. I have Byard number 9 on my list. I have number 8 being Bud Dupree. So I have Jeffrey Simmons at 7, Bud Dupree at number 8. The reason why I have Bud Dupree here is because of what we got glimpses and flashes of last season with him still recovering from the ACL. And Bud Dupree got a bunch of money with his free agent contract with the Titans, but that first year was cheap, right? The first year's base salary was pretty low hit. Not anymore. It's a lot higher. So Bud Dupree has no other choice but to have double-digit sacks this season. And so that means going from 3 in the regular season to adding a minimum 7 more off of what he did last year and helping this defense continue to climb and being a top defense across the NFL. And so I think Bud Dupree being fully healthy, having the second year after the ACL, lands Bud Dupree at number 8 and my second most important defensive player on the list.
Yeah, I mean, he can really make some impact this year.
Yeah.
I expect big things from Dupree. And, to clarify, Mark Jones, who I usually disagree with, says Big Jeff is a leader on the defense. Also, there could be more than one leader. I agree. Big Jeff is a leader, and he's become a leader. Kevin Byard has the seniority of leadership. That was my point there. My next guy is somebody that you've already named.
This is number 8, right, for you?
Yeah. It has to be Treylon Burks. He has to be. And I struggle with Byard versus Burks because of importance. I just picked Byard because I've seen his play and his importance on the field. I have not seen the importance of Treylon Burks yet, but we all know the pressures all behind the pick. The whole A.J. Brown trade. We know what A.J. Brown is. Burks has so much weight on his shoulders, and he's super important to Ryan Tannehill. Ryan Tannehill is the most important player on the Titans team because he's the quarterback. Treylon Burks can make Ryan Tannehill's life so much easier if he's able to come in and be the guy that they drafted him to be. Catch big-time balls, catch a ton of touchdowns, go up and grab it over the top, flip the field. I think Treylon Burks' best attribute could be, I don't know if will be, is flipping the field. It's throwing the 40-yard bomb because Burks is just that much better than the corner to go up and grab it and come down with it. And in the red zone, the one touchdown catch that we saw in minicamp and OTAs was in the bubble of Treylon Burks, that signature over the corner catch, grab it, good hand strength, hold on to the football, touch the toes, and score the touchdown. Burks is my number 8 guy.
Yeah, and I have Burks higher at 5 just because I think there's so much pressure on him. And I think kind of where I went with my list is because I've already mentioned my number 9 is Kevin Byard. And for all the things that you talked about with Kevin Byard, very important. But, the Titans need, and they are thin behind Lawan, Robert Woods, Burks, and Hooper. That's why those 2 guys were above those offensive guys were above the defensive players that I had. But Treylon Burks has to be a playmaker for this offense, or they're not going very far. You got to have somebody on the outside that can make people scared, and filling in for A.J. Brown's a big deal. So, all right. I've already said my number 9 for Kevin Byard. Who's your number 9, Zach?
My number 9 is the other first-round pick. It's not Treylon Burks. It's Caleb Farley. If Caleb Farley plays like he was drafted to play, this defense is going to be superb because I believe in Christian Fulton. If Christian Fulton has proven to me, and he's got to stay healthy, but he's proven to me that he can be the guy they drafted out of LSU. If Caleb Farley is the guy they drafted out of Virginia Tech in the first round, he gets past his back injuries, he gets past his ACL, and he can be a ball hawk. That I think he's got to be in my top 10. So I put him at 9 because I do think he's more important than my 10.
That was my hardest cut. I mentioned I had Dylan Radins at 12, and I kind of grouped them together. I was like, you know what? Same situation, right? Caleb Farley, Dylan Radins, kind of in the same, like, you're going to be relied upon a lot in year 2 compared to what you didn't do as a rookie, high draft pick, first and second round. So I put Caleb Farley at 11 and then Dylan Radins at 12 to kind of round out that cut list. But my number 10 is Harold Landry because that's my 4th defensive player. Because I put Dupree and Byard over Landry is because Dupree and Byard are more of versatile all-around players than Harold Landry. Harold Landry's a sack artist. Harold Landry's a quarterback pressure guy. Bud Dupree can do a lot of different things to impact the quarterback and also the run game. Kevin Byard does literally everything from the free safety position, as well as being one of the big leaders of the offense. So that's why Harold Landry was behind those other defensive players for me, just because he's got more of just the fastball and doesn't have the full repertoire of, off-speed pitches and other types of things on what he does. And just like I said for Bud Dupree, he's expensive this year. The cap hit's in the 16s, right? Harold Landry just got the new deal. His cap hit's a lot lower. So next year, the pressure will amp up even more on Harold Landry. So that rounds out my top 10, Zach. I'll round up my top 10. I'll let you get to your number 10. 1, Derrick Henry. 2, Ryan Tannehill. 3, Taylor Lewan. 4, Robert Woods. 5, Treylon Burks. 6, Austin Hooper. All offense in the top 6. Then my 4 defensive guys. 7, Jeff Simmons. 8, Bud Dupree. 9, Kevin Byard. 10, Harold Landry.
My 10 was my toughest decision. It was. Mine goes Tannehill 1, Derrick Henry 2, Jeffrey Simmons is the 3rd best, most important player on the team. Landry's 4, Dupree's 5, the Titans' right tackle position. If you want to do Dylan Radins in parentheses, go ahead and do that. Byard is 7, Burks is 8, Caleb Farley, first-round pick Caleb Farley, is 9. And number 10 was between 2 guys. One was offense, one was defense. I decided to go defense. And he's somebody that nobody really has talked about. I left Austin Hooper at 11. Mm-hmm. And that was a struggle for me because of what all I've said about Austin Hooper. But I put Zach Cunningham at 10. I love Zach Cunningham. I think Zach Cunningham is a great replacement for what Rashaan Evans could never be. I think he proved his value. I love how they got him back this season. And here's my philosophy behind it. I took a look at the schedule. This was my tipping point. A running back is going to get past the front 4. They are. Eventually, they're going to get past the front 4. It's now the tackling machine of Zach Cunningham to make sure, and this is who they're going to have to face, Saquon Barkley, Josh Jacobs, Jonathan Taylor twice, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Aaron Jones, Joe Mixon. You've got James Robinson twice for the Jacksonville Jaguars, Austin Eckler, and Ezekiel Elliott. Those are pretty damn good running backs that you're going to have to face. That's where Zach Cunningham comes in. And instead of 1st and 10 for the opposing offense, it turns into 3rd and 2. That's my premise. That's why I think Zach Cunningham is so important.
I think Zach Cunningham's the 2nd most important inside linebacker. I think David Long Jr. is, and I like Zach Cunningham. I think the duo of him and David Long Jr. is going to be really impressive and important for the Titans. But I think David Long Jr.'s ability to cover makes him more important.
Zach Cunningham's ability to tackle.
Well, and David Long Jr. is a really good tackler too. Like,
not as good as Zach Cunningham.
Well, I know that, but David Long Jr. can cover way better than Zach Cunningham. And so, Zach Cunningham's the number 1 run-stopping linebacker in the NFL last 5 years. We talked about that stat yesterday.
That's why I listed all of those stellar running backs.
I just think, and I don't disagree with your points. I just don't agree with how high he is with level of importance. Like, he's a very important player, but I think he's easier replaced because of the position that he plays. Like the Titans told us last year, and have really told us ever since John Robinson took over as GM, that inside linebacker is a rotational position. I mean, they drafted Rashaan Evans.
Why did they draft Rashaan Evans? That's
because of the situation.
That doesn't make any sense. That's wrong. If they drafted it, their 1st-round pick was an inside linebacker.
Zach, and I was about to tell you why. Because remember, in that draft, the Titans were picking 26th overall. They traded up to 22 to get Rashaan Evans because he was the only hole they had in their starting lineup, and it was a good scheme fit. It didn't work. But when you're drafting 26th overall, there's a lot of different factors that go into it, like situation. And it didn't work. It was a bad 1st-round draft pick. Rashaan Evans did not develop. But what did they tell you? that they can go find David Long and Jayon Brown on day 3 in the draft and go acquire Zach Cunningham middle of the season and then draft Monty Rice in the 3rd round the same year. And that it doesn't, like, they're willing to move on from those guys and not pay them too much. I think Zach Cunningham by far is the best inside linebacker they've signed, and since John Robinson's been the GM, but he's showing us that he doesn't value that position as much as he does other positions.
Well, he did by drafting Rashad Evans. Again, don't tell me you don't like Mexican food and then ask me to Taco Bell. That's what their actions
Taco Bell is not Mexican food.
What is it? What's
American fast food? American fast food.
That's not. What do they serve? What type of food do they serve?
Tacos.
What type of food are tacos?
That's not, again, that's
what
not
type of food are tacos?
It's that.
No, I'm asking a question. Okay. What type of food are tacos?
You're being thick-headed.
What type of food are tacos?
It's a cheap-ass Americanized Mexican food. It's not true Mexican food.
So there you go.
Thank you, Kieran. American Mexican. It's
what is
BS,
the last word in Kieran's statement?
Mexican. It's BS Mexican food. That's my point here.
I didn't.
Thank you, Daniel. That's not Mexican food.
Then what is it?
Trash.
That's not a category.
It's fast food. It's fast food.
But what type of food? Arby's is different than Burger King. It just is.
I don't want to get into this because it's stupid.
But you're wrong. You cannot say that Taco Bell is not Mexican food. That is literally a lie.
It's not. That is incorrect. Really, it's BS Mexican food.
You said Mexican food.
Okay, never mind.
You said that it wasn't, okay, and then now you're saying that it is.
Okay, I don't want to go any deeper in this.
But it's true. No, admit that you don't make any sense.
I mean, we got Juan says he's Mexican and Taco Bell is not Mexican. That's my point, is that Taco Bell is not a true representation of Mexican food.
What category is it?
It's fake Mexican. It's American
Mexican.
No, it's not, dude. Stop. And I agree with Harry. We need to move on. It's not real Mexican food. Okay?
It is categorized as Mexican food. You just did that.
Yeah, and so you think Pizza Hut's Italian food?
Yeah, it serves Italian food.
No.
Then what kind of food does it serve?
Crap food.
You're
fast food.
That's not
pizza.
There you go. What type of food is pizza?
It's pizza. It's its own thing.
Who created pizza?
Yeah, the Italians did, but it's not like
you're not getting it.
No, you sound like somebody who hasn't eaten good. And I know you like good restaurants.
I don't eat any of it.
I know.
I don't eat fast food. I just know how they're categorized.
Oh, TJ, Wikipedia. We can use Wikipedia because we're not your 11th grade English teacher. TJ says Wikipedia says it's Mexican expired food categorized as American fast food.
It is Mexican. It's Mexican dishes.
Mexican. It's inspired. It's Mexican inspired. It is not Mexican food. Ask a Mexican person if Taco Bell is Mexican food. They will laugh in your face, just like Juan's doing.
I didn't say it was real Mexican food. I said it was Mexican food.
Mexican inspired. Inspired, man. It's inspired.
Okay, that's fine. It's still categorized as Mexican.
Inspired by the cuisine from Mexico.
I'll settle on that.
There's not much inspiration going on with what Taco Bell's doing.
I agree. I don't eat Taco Bell. I graduated college a long time ago.
All right. So my 11 and 12 that just missed the cut were Caleb Farley and Dylan Radins. Who was your 11 and 12 again?
Austin Hooper was 11.
And you didn't have a 12?
Lawan was 12 if you want to put him in there.
All right. So look. We had the same 12.
Zach Cunningham you didn't have.
Ah, dang it. You're right. Zach Cunningham. And Zach Cunningham was not on my... I had Nico Autry. I had Ben Jones. David Long Jr.
Again, so my two, and we'll go, look, we got plenty of time going into the season. My two key positions to watch, Zach Cunningham and the right tackle position. Zach Cunningham and the right tackle position. I think we're going to be talking about those two things throughout the course of the year, behind, obviously, Tannehill's play and Henry and the defense and all that.
All right, let's get to Ain't That Good News to wrap up this week and send us to a holiday weekend. But first, tell everybody about Wilson County Hyundai.
Wilson County Hyundai is where you need to go to get your next ride. It is simple, quick trip down I-40, exit 236. Payne Bone, the owner, family owned and operated of Wilson County Hyundai, will hook you up with your perfect make and model. You just have to find out what your perfect make and model is. It is a Hyundai. You just have to find it. The Palisade is their third row seating full-size SUV, all the bells and whistles. They've got the four-door sedan and the Sonata, the Elantra, the Tucson, the Santa Fe, the Ioniq, which is battery-powered, so you don't have to worry about the gas prices, which are ridiculous, and nobody's doing anything about them. So fight fire with fire, right? That's what you got to do. And by doing that, you can order the Ioniq from Wilson County Hyundai. Visit wilsoncountyhyundai.com.
Don't forget, it's No Run First Inning Friday, so check out our Instagram, our Facebook, and our Twitter later on this morning for a suggestion on where you should place your risk-free No Run First Inning Friday, how it works. All BetMGM users and people who haven't even signed up yet, all you got to do is place a bet on a no run first inning on any Major League Baseball game today, and you get up to $25 back if there's only one run scored in that first inning. So check it out. We'll have that posted later on our Instagram, Facebook, and our Twitter for our no run first inning Friday risk-free suggestion, right? It's just an option out there. We'll do a little bit of research for you guys to make it easier, but that's with the BetMGM app. If you have not signed up with BetMGM, use our code ATOZ Sports. You get a risk-free bet up to $1,000 for your first bet. All right, ain't that good news to send us to a holiday weekend and a long break of a week for Zach and I, just to kind of get some housekeeping out. Zach and I will be off all next week. Don't fret. We will have some YouTube content going out every day in replace of us. So make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel there. But ain't that good news? We always take the week of the 4th of July off. It's our last opportunity to clear our minds before we really just lock down and go full throttle for about 7 months in a row for football. So that's housekeeping there out of the way. But a ton of ain't that good news from the comments. And Nasser says, wait, I missed the no run first inning play. No, that'll be on our Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter later on this morning. So just keep an eye out there for our feeds.
All right, good news. Let's go to the chat. Aaron says, good news, having a great workout last Tuesday at Planet Fitness. Excited about this weekend, celebrating Independence Day. So shout out to Aaron having good news. Nick, good news. Suns basketball tournament. Also go Gators. Bad news, had to miss the show today. It's already hot. But Nick, you did get featured on the show, so that's good news.
You got it
there. G-Man on bass. Good news, playing 4th of July festival in Tupelo. Slapping that bass Monday evening. New original music. South of Shiloh. Debut live set. So there's a shout out to G-Man right there. That's good news. Steven says, good news. It's his birthday next week. Enjoy vacation. Stephen King, the author of many books. We appreciate you and all of your written material. And happy early birthday right there. Sean says, happy birthday. Well, there you go. His daughter. Happy birthday to your daughter, Sean, turning 1 July 6th. Bobby says, good news, Kevin Durant is turning himself into a clown that warms my OKC fans' heart.
Oh,
right?
We talked about that in our pre-show conversation about Kevin Durant. It's very interesting.
Big Ten Jeff with the most Big Ten good news ever. Good news, Ohio State is finally asserting their power in the Big Ten. Today, Gene Smith took shots at the other Big Ten schools for not pulling their weight, saying USC and UCLA will. So Jeff is always in the mix for the Big Ten. So there it is. And Alex follows that up. Good news is that USC is leaving the awful excuse of a conference to go to the Big Ten. Not a huge upgrade, but the Pac-12 is circling the drain. I mean, that's kind of their defense, right? A to Z, attracting more opposite market fans from Jason Martinez. So Good news there. Going to Orlando for a family reunion from Juan. So good news there.
Maybe you can see Big Ten Jeff down there at Disney.
Maybe so. Who knows? Lucas with some harsh good news, but good news. A child abuser at his work got called out, beat up, and fired. I think you need the law enforcement to come in and throw his ass in jail for that. Kieran's moving
that's
back.
That's not done, yeah.
Yeah, moving back to Chattanooga. So
nice.
that is great right there. Good news. What is your good news, Austin?
Well, my good news is next week is my 4th wedding anniversary. So my wife and I will be taking our anniversary trip like we do each summer, minus COVID, the COVID year. But we are headed down to the beach and looking forward to getting away, just the two of us, because our May trip to the beach earlier this season was with our 2 dogs, and we brought my mother-in-law, which was a great time. But now we get to have the 2 of us to have some fun down there, staying in a beachside resort. So looking forward to not having to do a damn thing at the beach for a few days, and hopefully enjoying some good weather and some waves that we can play in and fight in, because we'd rather have rocky waves than a still ocean. I don't want a still ocean. That's boring to me. I want waves to fight in. I don't know about you. I'm a fight the waves person.
At times I can be. I like a little bit of both. But
no, the ocean being flat does nothing for me.
The pina coladas go down smooth. I will say that.
I mean, you can do that wherever.
So mine actually goes to the theme of what we just talked about, to be honest. And Nate goes, Zach is going to Florida, I'm guessing. I am not going to Florida. I am actually going to get some authentic Mexican food in Mexico.
Hey.
I am flying to Cancun on Wednesday and not coming back till Sunday, and going deep sea fishing. I'm going to try to catch a blue marlin. We're going to see. So that is my good news. I'm looking forward to the all-inclusive resort that I'm going to stay at in Cancun, Mexico. It is not Taco Bell.
I was going to say, could you do a man on the street type of feature where you ask the employees at the resort, is Taco Bell Mexican food?
I'm not going to be thinking about A to Z sports for as much as I can.
I just think that would be really entertaining.
But that is real, authentic Mexican. It is not inspired. It's the real deal.
And Mark says, I think in Mexico they just call it food.
Food.
And I heard some comedian talk about, like, you know how you have the conversation about what do you want to eat for dinner, and it's like, you know, we just had Chinese food last night. I don't want Chinese food again 2 nights in a row. And then it's like, well, that's just what they do in China. Like, that's just the food they eat. And like America, like I was thinking about that. We just bum off of everybody else's cuisine.
Except for like cheeseburgers. I feel like that's that
was what I was thinking. It's like cheeseburgers. That's all we got as this country. It's like, but again, we're like, we don't want to eat cheeseburgers. Like, you would sound like the biggest fat ass if you're like, yeah, I had American cheeseburgers 3 nights in a row. Like, right, wouldn't that make you sound terrible?
Yeah, I mean, I actually did that last week, and
3 cheeseburgers. Oh, you're in. Wait,
no, I played myself. I played myself. I went to the lake, and I made burgers, homemade grilled burgers on Thursday night. I had a leftover burger. Before I went to the lake for lunch on Friday, I ate that cheeseburger. I get to the lake. And what do you do at the lake? You cook out, you grill out, and we had cheeseburgers. So I literally did that. I haven't had a cheeseburger since.
Yeah, that happens. All right, guys, we will see you in a weekish or so, but we will have YouTube content coming out throughout next week. So be looking on the lookout for that. You guys subscribe to our YouTube channel, but we will see you July 11th. So it'll be about 10 days. But hey, hope everybody has a great 4th of July weekend.
Time. DJ, are there Taco Bells in Mexico? And if there are, is that considered Mexican food?
No, it's just Taco Bell.
Okay. All right.
Hope everybody has a great, safe holiday weekend. We'll talk to you guys soon. We'll be back shortly, fresh and ready to go for training camp and getting ready for the season. But again, don't forget, do subscribe to our YouTube channel because we will have content every day, every weekday next week on the YouTube channel, including Monday, the 4th of July. So we'll see you guys later on. Have a great weekend. Talk to you soon. Thanks.
Adios.